Do you sometimes think there are some people that have more than 24 hours in a day because they get so much done? The fact is that they don't, but what they do have is a skill to manage their time well. And so can you with 5 time management tips that I'm sharing in this video. My name is Jelena and I'm a VP of product in a cool startup during the work week, and on weekends I share my passions for product management, personal productivity and remote work on this channel. If this is something that you're interested in, please consider subscribing. So a funny paradox I noticed in my own life is that the more I have to do, the more I actually manage to get done. I remember years ago, I'd have one important thing per day which would drag along for hours, while in reality it could be done in a much shorter period. Back then I'd look at some of the super productive people and I'd feel like they had more hours in the day than I did. And then I was in a situation where I was a full-time student and I was working 2 jobs, one full-time job from home and another part-time job. And somehow I managed to get it all done, and I still had time to hang out with my friends and even actually get bored. So there's no real secret to it. No one has more hours in a day, but there are a few relatively simple time management tips that you can apply to feel like you're being given more time. So let's dive into the first tip. Number 1, Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law is a term coined by Cyril Northcote Parkinson, and I hope I said that correctly, in his humorous essay in The Economist in 1955. In the essay, he shares a story of a woman whose only task in a day is to send a postcard, a task that would take a busy person approximately 3 minutes to complete, but the woman spends an hour finding the card, another half hour looking for her glasses, 90 minutes writing the card, and on and on and on until her day is entirely filled. So Parkinson's law is meant to indicate that work expands to the time allocated to its completion. So if you leave a whole day to send out a postcard, you'll figure out how to make yourself busy, so this task takes an entire day. But if you give this task 5 minutes, then the task will probably take 5 minutes to do. What this means for you is that when you're planning your day, if you're not sure how much time you'll need for a specific task on your to-do list, you're better off just allocating any time that seems reasonable to you at that moment. And it's even better if you give yourself a bit less time, because the chances are higher you get it done in that time frame that you allocated to it than if you left it open-ended. So don't overthink it. Assign time for each task that seems to make sense and just get it done. Number 2, deep work. Deep work is a concept created by Newport, a computer science professor at Georgetown University. He wrote an entire book titled Deep Work, Rules to Get Focused in a Distracted World, that goes deeper into this concept. So what's deep work? Here's what he writes. Professional activity performed in a state of distracted free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. If you're being perfectly honest with yourself, how often are you actually in a state of full and complete focus with 0 distractions when you're working on a task? I know I'm not. But you might be wondering, why is this even important? Here's what Mr. Newport writes. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly rare. At exactly the same time, it is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, the few who cultivate this skill and then make it the core of their working life will thrive. But if this argument is not convincing enough, then let me offer you a different one. The deeper you work, the less you will actually have to work. Just think how much time you're wasting by being distracted. Research says that on average a person is distracted every 11 minutes at work, and it can take up to 15 minutes to get refocused. So if you're able to block as many distractions as possible in your day to create space to do deep work that actually propels you forward, then you'll actually create better results. And if you're anything like me, you'll be happy to work fewer hours. So block those notifications or get that phone out of your sight and get it done. Number 3, batch tasks. Task batching is a productivity strategy that involves grouping similar tasks together in order to do them in one time period. The main goal of task batching is to actually reduce the cognitive load on constant context switching, meaning jumping from one task to the next. So for example, when I was really doing hands of product work as a product manager in the beginning of my career, I had days, even a single hour, in which I looked at the design to give feedback, and then I'll talk to our development team to clarify some things. And then I look at our numbers, like our analytics numbers. In the next moment, I was talking to our CS team or our marketing team. It was all over the place. And honestly, this is not even an exaggeration. I'm quite frankly exhausted just talking about it right now. All these activities are so distinct and involve completely different skills to do them effectively. So instead of doing this heavy context switching, you can batch similar tasks together. What I did is I dedicate specific days or time of days to specific things. I had a day when I worked mostly with development, and I had a day when I focused on design or numbers. Of course, this wasn't the only thing I did that day, but most of my focus went on these specific domains. The main takeaway for you is to be aware of the cost of context switching and think about which tasks are pretty similar and which tasks you can actually group together and then do them at the same time. Number 4, best time to work. We all have different daily patterns and energy levels. Some of us are night owls and some of us are early birds. The idea of best time to work is that you work with your natural biorhythm when planning your schedule instead of fighting it. So if you're most productive early in the morning, then you get most important work done in the morning and leave the afternoon and the evening for your low intensity tasks. For example, I'm a morning person, so I do my most important work in the morning and I leave my afternoons for meetings and smaller tasks. If you want to determine if you're a morning person or a night owl, ask yourself, what time of the day are you most awake? Do you get the most work done and do you feel the least lethargic? Once you understand this, plan your day so that you're doing your deep work when you're at your best. Number 5, 2-minute rule. David Allen is famous for his time management book, Getting Things Done, that I'm a huge fan of. And in this book, he shares his 2-minute rule. I share what I learned from this book in one of my previous videos that I link down below and here on the screen somewhere. Anyway, the 2-minute rule goes like this. If an action will take less than 2 minutes, it should be done at the moment it's defined. So this means that if something will take you less than 2 minutes to do, you should do it right then and there instead of waiting to do it later. He says that the rationale for the 2-minute rule is that it's more or less the point where it starts taking longer to store and track an item than to deal with it the first time it's in your hands. In other words, it's efficiency cutoff. The point is that our backlogs get filled with small tasks that can be done in a matter of 2 minutes, and the cost of storing and tracking these tasks is just not worth the investment. So it's best to get them done as soon as possible. Next time you have a simple task to get done, such as scheduling a dentist appointment or something similar, don't overthink it, just get it done right then and there because it will cost you more to store it and deal with it later. Alright, so those were 5 tips to help you feel like you have 25 hours in the day. This is a big promise. Let me know which ones you tried and which ones actually worked for you. Here's another video from me that you might enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.